It's about trusting your intuition. You know, down to your core, what makes you happy and who you are. It's not easy, but you trust it.
I learned to trust me. The last 10 years, I made the hardest decisions of my life. And those decisions were impacted by 4 conversations I had with my cardiologist. Kari, there's been some complications. Kari, we feel it's best for you to live recreational and no longer competitive. Kari, you are in stage 2 of 4 stages of heart failure. And Kari, when you go into this race, I don't want you to listen to that voice that says, go, 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 you need to win. I want you to listen to that voice that says you've already won. Look how far you've come. This day is for you, and enjoy it. So how does somebody get the green light to pursue a race with stage 2 heart failure? And what race am I talking about? I'm talking about the Ironman. It's a 2.4-mile swim, 112-mile bike ride, and then you finish with 26.2-mile run. How did I get here? At the age of 12, I remember my father telling me I could earn a scholarship to play collegiate sports. And so I wrote that on a piece of notepaper, and I put it by my bed so I saw it every morning and every night, and it reminded me of what I needed to do to reach that goal. I was a senior in high school, and I was offered a scholarship to play at St. Cloud State for volleyball. And not only did I play volleyball, I was a 3-sport athlete. The same qualities I needed to be successful in athletics, I also applied in the classroom, and I graduated with honors. And from there, I was recruited by a CPA firm in Minneapolis, and I found myself applying that same drive and passion for success, and I was on path to be a partner. But it didn't feel right. I just was not happy. I felt as though I was existing and wasn't living, but I didn't know what I wanted to do. And at the age of 27, my heart woke me up. After college, I continued training and competing, and on one of my training runs, I noticed something was different and I couldn't keep the pace. So I started seeking out doctors. And I kept getting the unknown. We don't know what's going on. We don't know what's going on. And then on another run, I had passed out, and I was taken to a hospital. And once again, I received the answer that we didn't know. And so I made the decision to pursue the Mayo Clinic. And this is where I'd find the best team for my care that I could ever imagine. They honored my quality of life and respected that training and competing was a huge part of my happiness. They were able to find that my heart was not functioning like it should. I also had a very dangerous arrhythmia from scarring that was on my heart, but we didn't understand how that all began. And so once again, I had an unknown. So I made the decision to leave my job and pursue medicine. And today, I'm at the Mayo studying genetic heart diseases and pursuing my PhD. And a big part of this transition was not only to find answers for myself, but I wanted to find answers for others living with an unknown. As I was in school, I continued to work with my doctors to find solutions to my heart. And the first thing we tried was drugs, and they helped correct things to a certain extent. But then I agreed to do some procedures. And these procedures entailed a catheter going into my heart with the hopes of destroying the heart tissue that was causing an incorrect electrical rhythm that caused an abnormal arrhythmia. And in that procedure, my second procedure, I had coded on the table. I did not have a pulse. And it took CPR to get my heart started again. After that, I had another conversation with my doctor, and he felt it was better for me to live a recreational life instead of competitive. And if people who know me, they know the word recreational is not in my vocabulary. And I knew if I kept my mind on a goal, I could find myself being competitive again. But that wasn't what scared me. What scared me was death. And that moment reminded me that I could die. And I feared everything. I feared climbing a flight of stairs. I feared any kind of exercise. And I feared I would die in my sleep. This was the moment I had my mother sleep with me at night with her hand on my back so she could feel my breath in case something happened, because I didn't want to die. I knew I needed help. I hit my lowest low. I had no hope, I had no confidence. And so I had to put a team together, a team of coaches, mentors, therapists, friends, and family, because I knew they could help me find that hope again. And this was the same time I started using a mantra. And my mantra is think it, feel it, see it, and live it. And this was my personal mantra. It was my affirmation to remind me that anything is truly possible. And my team and that mantra slowly helped me find the confidence. I slowly began to exercise and train again. I started to live. And that athlete inside wanted to compete again. So I had an idea. I scheduled an appointment with my doctor, and I told him I want to compete. He said, "What do you think about a 5K or a 10K?" And I was like, I just did a 100-mile bike gravel race and then a 27-mile race running. Do I tell him that or not? So I did. But then I said, if I get one opportunity, I want to go big. I want to be an Ironman. That appointment lasted 45 minutes, and I left with the green light to pursue the goal together as a team. However, with the understanding that death was the ultimate and that I could be reducing my life expectancy, and I was okay with that. A week later, he called me in for a follow-up appointment, and we sat down, and he said, "Kari, you're in stage 2 of 4 stages of heart failure." And I was taken back because I hadn't felt this good in years. I felt like I was training like I was in college, and I didn't understand it. And he didn't either. But we still agreed that we could pursue this goal. And so the next 10 months, I trained 25 plus hours a week, tried to balance my PhD, and also made sure my heart was healthy. I never realized how challenging, but also how lonely this experience would be. But what I did is I relied on my mantra and my why for this journey, and it got me through. It's September 10th, 2017, Madison, Wisconsin. 4 a.m. in the morning, and it's race day. The team that was down there with me, we got together and we head down to the start line. As I showed up at that start line, I noticed my team doubled in size, and more people joined me in Madison for this day. And I did the regular things everybody would do to make sure everything's good to go. I checked my bikes, I looked at my transition bags, everything was set. My friend helped me get my wetsuit on because I struggled with that piece a little bit during this training. And so the wetsuit was on, and I headed down to that start line. And I was going down this helix filled with people, but what I saw was my family and my friends, smiles, high fives, and it was amazing. And as I walked up to that start line, I heard my doctor say once again, "You've already won. This day is for you. Enjoy it." Wave 3 was called, the sound goes off, and I'm swimming, and it is amazing. And I found my rhythm and I found my breath. About 1,000 yards in, a gentleman kicked me in the face, and I ingested water. But that's what's going to happen when you're swimming with 3,000 people. But I noticed about 200 yards later, I was coughing, and the coughing wouldn't go away. And then I'm like, just keep going, it'll go away. And it didn't. And then do I raise my hand and ask for help? And I didn't want to do that because I felt like I was going to be defeated. But I did. I put my hand in the air, and a kayaker came over, and I said, just give me a moment. I need to find my breath. I found my breath, and I continued swimming. But the cough stayed with me, and the breathing got harder. And it was kayak after kayak, every 50 to 100 yards I was grabbing onto, because in my mind I did not want to not finish that swim. The thoughts that came through my head for a brief moment was I put all this time in, and I'm no longer going to be an Ironman, and I let my family down. But I changed that thought and said the only thing I can control right now is how I finish this swim, and I was going to finish it no matter how long it took. So I made the decision to take my wetsuit off, which is going to make the swim a lot harder. And I took it off and I gave it to a kayaker, and I continued swimming. But the swim became a breaststroke because I could no longer put my face in the water. And as I continued swimming, I was drawing attention of medical personnel because I was struggling, and my cough was pretty much uncontrollable. And when they came over, they ran my number 1368, and they saw my significant heart history. And so they pleaded with me to get in the boat because they thought I was having a heart attack. And I said, no, I'm pretty confident I'm not having a heart attack. Please trust me. I don't know what it is, but I'm not having a heart attack. And so they gave me the go to continue to swim. And then they noticed it kept getting harder and harder. And they once again asked me to get in the boat. And I said, I'm not getting in that boat. So you can just come along for the ride. And I had two kayakers, both doctors, on my left and my right, and I swam in the middle. And I watched people pass me, and they continued to pass me. And this continued. I turned the corner at 600 yards left remaining. I heard them announce there's 12 minutes left before the cutoff. And I thought, geez, 500 yards would typically take me 8 minutes. I'm going to pick up my pace. That didn't help. So I just continued with the breaststroke. I did finish that swim. What was supposed to be 75 minutes turned into 2.5 hours. But I got out of that water on my own. I was rushed to the hospital because they wanted to make sure I wasn't having a heart attack. I wasn't having a heart attack. In fact, my heart was strong. It was really strong. What they found out is I had pneumonia. My race ended that day by something out of my control. However, how I finished that swim was completely up to me. And in those last 50 yards, I heard them announce, the swim cutoff is now done. And that meant I was not getting on that bike. I grabbed a kayak, and I needed to gather my emotions. Because I realized I was the last swimmer of 3,000 athletes. But I said, wait. I was one of 3,000 that day. And to me, failing was not trying. And I tried. My inner voice reminded me, I am human. Look how far I've come. My inner voice reminded me of my strength, my grit, and my why. My inner voice reminded me this was a journey to spread hope, the same hope I received. My inner voice reminded me we all face challenges, but it's what we do next that defines us. And my inner voice reminded me I am not done. I still dream big, as should you. So I ask you, what is your Ironman? Think it, feel it, see it, and just live it.